Sinanan and Young. It's like roll call. Miss McDonald and representatives of municipal corporations, state boards, Carenage community, ladies and gentlemen. I would not dare go into the history of the construction of this facility. I'll leave that up to my boss. And I hope that he has enough time allocated to talk about that. But this job is almost totally finished. There is a second phase on the western side where, based on the requirements of the MP for Diego Martin West, a fish fry facility will be established. And the combined effect of this new Carenage fisheries facility and that fish fry facility will bring significant economic activity to this specific area. When you come from rural communities, as I do, or you come from fishing communities, as the Prime Minister represents, you understand the need for infrastructure, policy, support, legislation in order to achieve what we want to achieve in our communities. And no one can fault the MP for Diego Martin West for fighting as hard as he's done and trying to do better for the place that he represents. In fact, it has been the desire of every Prime Minister of the country to not only represent the country, but also deal with the issues in their constituency. And I think the member for Diego Martin West, if I can speak for my colleagues, have done an excellent job in doing that. But if we look around the country, particularly fisheries infrastructure, you would see that one of the challenges is to maintain that infrastructure. Part of the reason has to do because it's on the coast and is subject to weather conditions and coastal activity. Part of the reason has to be the nature of fisheries activities, the way in which it is conducted, and part of it has to do with the way we as a country manage our infrastructure. For this particular facility represents one of the best we have in the country now, in terms of design and in terms of capability to do what it has to be done. Where you sit today will be the last day that we have an event like this in this particular area. This is a specially designed area for boat repair. It's positioned like this so that when the fisherfolk come up, they'd be able to draw their boats straight in. Boat repair involves a significant amount of fiberglass use. If you look outside, you would see where boat repair was conducted before, and we should not have boat repair being conducted in the open air anywhere in the country. So what we've done in the last 2.5 years is to retrofit some of the facilities around the country to make sure that the important activity of boat repair is conducted in a safer environment. Where you are right now will be a specially designed facility to ensure that the fiberglass is contained, it is extruded as it should be, and the facility is managed. When you look to the front, you would see a specially designed retail facility. Along the side, you will see, and we've catered in the design for flow of activity, flow of people. You'd see the area where the fisher folk will come and offload their fish and pass it on to their buyers. And on the inside of the building, you would see the sometimes contentious lockers and office facilities and other things that we've put in place. But the management and maintenance of this facility will be an issue. And the Cabinet has recently decided to reshape what currently exists as the Caribbean Fisheries Training and Development Institute and ask that CFTDI, which is based in Chagaramas, pay particular attention and take responsibility for the continued management oversight along with the fisherfolk in the area and the associations to keep this facility in good order so that it will be available to benefit the fisherfolk and the people of Carenage for a long time. But it is not the only thing, of course, the Prime Minister has done and the Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West has done. A lot of work has gone in so far on the start of the construction of the Carenage police station. Again, it is a police station design that is different from what we currently have. It is a purpose-built facility when it's finished for one simple reason. The Carenage police station will be built on the shore, and it will support a police facility, a police marine facility, something that is really needed in this part of Trinidad, given the significant fisheries activity and the significant maritime activity in this area. And I think most of the obstacles have been removed in relation to dealing with the particular site we've selected, and we expect that the Prime Minister will be able to turn the sod for that facility very shortly. Deep down in Carenage, in Chaguaramas, west of here, we had a landmark facility which served the farmers in this country, and that is the much talked about seed bank. A decision was taken sometime around 2010, 2011 to close down the seed bank and to leave our farmers almost entirely reliant on imported seeds. But what we know about Trinidadians who live here and live outside of here, Trinidadians like the things that they grow up with. They like the corn, they like the okra, they like the foot-long okra, they like the things that they grow up with. And one of the things we've done as a government is to reintroduce in Chaguaramas the seed bank. It's done well for those of you who in 2016 was able to remember that sorrel was actually deep red, almost black. That is the original sorrel of this country. We were able to reintroduce that on the seed bank and provide the seeds for the farmers and reintroduce that onto the market. And the seed bank is doing well, and it will continue to expand. The Cabinet has also recently redesigned the National Reforestation Program. We have in this part of the country, in the 3 constituencies, significant forest areas, significant areas that require maintenance, rehabilitation, replanting. And when that new program is launched on August 1st, 2018, we expect that Northwest Trinidad will play a significant part in the continued existence of that program. In relation to land administration down in Chaguaramas and in the Carenage area across the 3 constituencies, in this area, we continue to have land administration issues in relation to places like Paramin, for example. We have farmers who have had state land leases which have long expired. We have highly productive farmers who occupy both state land and private land, and they should be regularized so that their activities could be put on a sustainable basis. We have residential tenants in this part of the country who occupy and rent state lands and who also have had long expired leases. And we have, you would have heard me speak in the Parliament on Thursday on several occasions about this issue of squatter regularization. There are people in this country that feel that squatters are somebody who should be removed from the land and who should, not be given an opportunity to own a house. And as the PNM in government has long recognized that while we have to uphold the law and we have to ensure that when we are dealing with public assets, in particular things like land, that we do it in a way that is transparent, in a way that creates sustainability and gives an equal opportunity to any citizen of the country to access. But the PNM in government has also long recognized that there are people who have occupied land for various reasons across the country and have occupied it for a very long time, in 50 and 60 years in some cases. And those persons should be dealt with in a fair and equitable way. And in this part of the country, in the constituency of the Gomartin West, the Gomartin Northeast, the Gomartin Central, our ministry is working to deal with some of those outstanding issues relating to residential parcels of land. I think that today is an important day for my boss, for your MP, for our Prime Minister. It is a day as he walked in, he said to me, whispered to me, plenty thing happening in this project, and I know that he's anxious to talk about it. I know he's anxious to celebrate what is happening today. and I want to give him the opportunity to do that. But before I do that, I can't remember having many occasions to speak in the community of Carenage, and I can't remember personally telling you thanks for all the tremendous support that you have given all of us, whether we are in the Senate or whether we're in the lower house, whether we are in the cabinet or out the cabinet, all of us who you have asked to represent you across the country, I want to say thank you. We've just gone past the midway mark, and I'm already thinking of asking you for a further 5 years to get the job done. Thank you very much.
Words well spoken, Mr. Rambarat. Thank you very, very much. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I have to take it a bit personal because I feel challenged. I feel a bit challenged because when Mr. Rambarat started his speech, he said, what you say again? You could take on Carenage. You look at the second years and you want to bring people from Mayaro. Zandoli and Superior from Bayou. And Gypsy. You ain't here, boy. Boy, we have bad guns out here, boy. In Carenage here, boy. Like me. Well, let me show you one, ladies and gentlemen, as we move along this evening. As I said, we're going to intersperse some entertainment, and I would like to bring a young, very talented vocalist here to put Mr. Rambarat in his place, if I can. Ladies and gentlemen, here is gospel artist Jaron Nurse. He will tell you more about his background.
To the Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, all cabinet ministers, councillor for Carenage, specially invited guests, all protocol observed, Carenage people, visitors. I greet you in the wonderful name of Jesus Christ, and I will never apologize for that. No day, no time. My task today is a simple one, and it's simply to tell you about the best place in the West. Mr. DJ. Yeah. Make me tell them where I'm from, yeah. A place called Carenage, boy. Carenage. First time you hear that name? Watch it. Carenage where me born and grow, and football is all I know. And well, say Carenage is a football community, and if you think I like Dr. Kid Rowley, can't forget Kevin, Jovin, Trent Lab, cause each one of them I represent Trinidad. I count it a privilege. They say that I'm living in the best village, cause I'm from Carenage, boy, and I'm proud, yeah. I'm from Carenage, boy, and I'll sing it so low, yeah. Oh yes, I'm glad to be a part of this community. Oh yes, I'm glad to be. And for the visitors, this for the visitors. Come to Carenage, have a sea bath, and you can even buy a fish. And if you're feeling lazy, you can check ordering for a dumpling and saltfish. And if you're not feeling for no dumpling, so you can buy a roti by Miss Caroline. So we not deal with KFC, because we buy we fried chicken from Prince and Girlie. I'm from Carenage, boy, and I'm proud, yeah. I'm from Carenage, boy, and I'll sing it all low. Oh yes, I'm glad to be a part of this community. Oh yes, I'm glad to be a part of this community. We got the best barbers, just in case you didn't know. Man like Kirby Ray, Ayande, Danon and Pablo. I see you can't forget the DJ, because me want the music play in the airway. So big up King Kirby, boy. Say DJ fly on. Twin Sound System 187, and the whole of the Poison song. I'm from the Carenage, boy. Yes, I'm proud. I'm from Carenage, boy, and I'll sing it all low. Oh yes, I'm glad to be a part of this community. Oh yes, I'm glad to be a part of this. So when will we live as one? Put down the gun. Forget about the war with Scorpion and Resurrection. Cause I remember when all of them was one. Sweet cat motion, everybody on the junction. And boy, but me tell the ghetto youth we must unite. The ghetto youths are carrying a jar, we will rise. I pray this prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. From Carinage, and yes I'm proud. I'm from Carinage, and I'll sing Lord. Oh yes, I'm glad to be part of this community. Oh yes, I'm glad to be part of this community. Welcome to Carinage. Welcome to Carinage. God bless.
Hey, you. Take that. You talking about gypsy? Gypsy can't go, hey. You ever hear gypsy sing so? Hey, welcome to Carinage. Gypsy can't make them notes. You still call him name, you know? Good. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the feature address. And to do that, I would like to ask Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, to come forward to deliver the featured address.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barrow, and thank you very much for putting Mr. Rambarat in his place. Call that powerful stupid. Come to Carinage to threaten us. My cabinet colleagues and I permit me the opportunity to identify them all. Had I known that there would have been so many of them here, I might have organized an impromptu meeting of the cabinet. But permit me to acknowledge the presence of the Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, Senator Clarence Rambarat of Mayaro, the Member of Parliament for St. John's East, Minister of Community Development and Culture, Mrs. Nian Gatsby-Dolly, Ms. Marlene MacDonald from Port of Spain South, our Minister of Public Administration, coming out of Lopino Bonaire, the Minister of Social Development, who's coming to Carinage for the first time, Sherian Critchlow, the Minister of Education, the Woodman, Minister Anthony Garcia Verima, the Minister of Health, Member of Parliament from St. Joseph, Mr. Terence Dayal Singh, the former Member of Parliament for Point Fortin, now of Maraval, Minister of Trade and Industry, Mrs. Paula Gopi-Skoon, and behind her we have all the way from the other end of Trinidad, straight across the water. Look right and you see Point Fortin, but the Member of Parliament is here, Minister Edmund Dillon, our Minister of National Security. And on the way up from Point Fortin in San Fernando, we have a former mayor who is now Minister of Local Government, Minister Kazim Hussein, and recovering from a very long trip to China and Australia, Minister Dennis Moses. And behind him we have the Minister of Works and Transport, Senator Rohan Sinadan. And I think I see another minister somewhere. All the way from the South Coast, where fishing is important. Minister in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Lovell Francis out there. Welcome to Carinage. Minister Young is here as well? Like something sharing in Carinage this evening. Minister Stuart Young, Member of Parliament for Port of Spain North, and Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Minister in the Office of the Attorney General, and Minister of Communications. Yes, one man, all of that. But ladies and gentlemen, I welcome them to what Jaron says is the best place, best village in Trinidad and Tobago. But let me rectify that. Let me rectify that a bit. Best place in Trinidad. Because I'm not taking on Tobago in that. There's going to be a competition in that. Other members of government and the permanent secretaries of particularly of two ministries, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, with responsibility for the agency UDCOT, which has been responsible for this project recently, and also the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, other public officials, and permit me to acknowledge two Carenage stalwarts, the elder stalwart, former member of Parliament and Minister of Works, Mr. Hugh Francis, who is with us today. And of course, Father Gregory Augustine, who is, I thank you very much for taking time out to come and spend a few minutes with us this evening. We are blessed to have you with us. And of course, our Councillor for Carenage, Councillor Aki Glasgow. And of course, we have the Chairman of the Diego Martin Corporation, Mrs. Susan Hong, leading some of her team here, Mr. Sigler Jack, and other people. If I spend the evening acknowledging all of you, we'll do only that. So welcome to Carenage. And I'm particularly pleased to see so many citizens and quite a few of you from outside of Carenage who have taken time out to associate yourself with this evening's event. I take that to mean that you appreciate that what is happening in Carenage today is important, and you are here to be a part of it and to celebrate with the people of the Western Peninsula. This facility is a substantial facility. It is located in Carenage, but it is not just a Carenage facility. It's a national facility because if it is properly used, it could do wonders not just for Carenage, but for the rest of the country. And having said that, let me at this juncture acknowledge the spokesperson for the fisher folk in the Western Peninsula, Mr. Millington, who spoke very briefly, and a person who has played a tremendous part. And I suspect that he has other members of his group here, the people dressed in blue there, the fisher folk. I acknowledge you specially because this is your facility. And this was long in coming, but I'm sure that you would today, like me, feel satisfied that it has finally arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, as I walked in this evening, I said to Minister Rambarat that I've waited a long time for a day like today to be able to have this facility on completion be available to those whose livelihood is associated with this public investment. And let me tell you a little bit about my own feelings about today. In March of 2008, I was asked to travel to South Africa I was Minister of Trade at the time, and I was involved in some of these WTO discussions, and there was a major meeting in South Africa. And I went to that meeting, and it took a very, very long time to get to South Africa. I was able to sleep, wake up, night and day. As a matter of fact, like since you woke up this morning, we were flying over Angola. Angola was still below us. And on that trip, I took a decision. And the decision was that at the end of that parliamentary term, I would not offer myself again. I would end my political career at the end of that term. I thought I had done as much as I could have done. And I was getting a little disillusioned about how things were going. And I thought I would have done as much as I could have done. And it was time for me to step aside. I came back here and I told my wife, at the end of this term, I would get out of public life. That was March 2008. 1 month later, I was dismissed from the cabinet, for other reasons, of course. And the only thing that laid heavy on my mind in that dismissal is that I was leaving with this facility incomplete. But there wasn't anything I could do about it. And then 2 days later, the Prime Minister who dismissed me told the country that I was dismissed for conduct unbecoming of a minister. And I reversed my decision on that because I decided I was not going to leave public life on those terms. And I mentally and physically returned to the political arena. And today I stand before you as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. The other thing I want to tell you is that in our country, all that glitters is not gold. And not all those who shout Lord, Lord, or Allah, Allah, or whatever else are in fact acting in the best interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And that is particularly hurtful when such persons hold public trust, meaning hold public office or are on the public payroll somewhere. And I'm not here only talking about politicians who hold ministerial office. I'm talking about persons on the payroll who's supposed to clean the drains, who's supposed to do local government work, who's supposed to be in the offices to serve you when you get there, and who are supposed to collect public revenue when it is due and legally collectible. We need to buck up in Trinidad and Tobago and to stop make excuses for wrongdoing. Ladies and gentlemen, as a representative, you have to always be focused on your purpose, and that is to represent other persons, to stand in the shoes of other persons who can't even enter the room in which you're operating, or who doesn't have a voice when you have a floor to speak. And I refer to the parliament, or when you are standing in front of somebody who has an influence over the life of other people who send you to represent them. And here in Carenage, I've been representing some of the finest people that I know. And I'm particularly proud to have represented you for so long. And I would have gone in 2008, happy to have served you in the time that I did. But sad that I wasn't able to complete this major facility. But then, as I talk about the conduct of persons who act in trust or who ought to act in trust, this facility represents the worst of public misbehavior where trust is concerned. When I was about to go in 2008, this facility was there to be done. I heard it said this evening that it took 9 years for this facility to be completed. A little while ago, I had to deliver 40-something housing units in St. James. They took 12 years. So we're making progress. 12 years in St. James, 9 years in Carenage. In the 9-year period, 5 of those years represents absolute disregard for the interests of the people who depend on this facility. Because during the 5-year period, 2010 to 2015, when this project had already been almost 2 years old, nothing that I and we in our side could do could get the government of the day to come to this site and to conclude this project for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, particularly the people of Carenage. And I'll tell you something else too. If this was the only instance that the government had ignored a project in this Diego Martin area, I would have said, well, okay, we must stand in line because there are priorities to be done. But unfortunately, that is not so. It was a pattern of deliberate neglect, which no government in Trinidad and Tobago should be accused of quite correctly. It was this facility, it was the community center in Bagatelle, it was the sporting complex in Diego Martin, and of course, it was the school on the hill. Ladies and gentlemen, as a representative in the parliament, I filed a number of questions asking the government, as they do to us now, when are you going to return to this project? Understanding that government has priorities, the first time I filed a question about this project, I was told that it will be done in the next 3 years. It will be done in the next 3 years. I waited. I got to the point where, using the parliamentary procedures, I got the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago to put on the Hansard that, given the approval for monies to complete this project, the Prime Minister gave an assurance that the project will start in a matter of weeks and it will be completed within that fiscal year. The minister responsible came down here, and the site was then clean because it had taken over in bush since then, and their handful of friends here in Carnage thief away everything that wasn't nailed down. But they came to start it over. Okay, so we said, finally it's going to be restarted. And the minister responsible came here to Carnage, took one look at the building, and said, we ain't spending $25 million on that. And thus ended the lesson. And we had to remain there after waiting, saying that it will be done in the next 3 years. We remained there for the next 2 years after. So for 5 years, this project was left totally unattended. In the meantime, the government spent billions of dollars in new development projects, but failed to complete this one. You, the people of Carnage, and the people of the rest of the country who gave us a majority, today I want to salute you. Because if you didn't vote us into office in 2015, you would never be here this evening in this facility. And now I could retire. Ladies and gentlemen, our government ought never to be so accused. Today you hear them every day, they're asking us, when are you going to finish this school? When are you going to finish that school? When are you going to finish that? Knowing that this government, unlike other governments, even if we want to finish some of those projects, we don't have the money available today. But when the money was available to finish the projects that were underway, these very said people took deliberate political decisions not to complete those projects. Today, I am pleased to announce to you that in a matter of a few months, maybe by mid-year, one of the finest sporting facilities in the country will be opened in Diego Martin, the Diego Martin Sporting Complex. And one of the best community centers is very well advanced in Bagatelle, and the people of Northern Diego Martin and Bagatelle and River Estate and around would have that community center. And the one in Four Roads, there's a little problem there, we're going to fix it, and hopefully by Christmas or thereabouts, Four Roads will have a community center. And you, the people of Carnage, today, welcome to the newest and probably the best fishing facility, not only in Carnage, but probably in the Caribbean. You have waited long, and it was worth waiting for. And I took time to tell you this, because I want you, the people, wherever you are, because this event is going nationwide, whenever you hear them talking about how good they are, and how popular they are, and how fit they are, you tell yourself, fit to chowe. Tell yourself that this is part of the legacy of wrongdoing in Trinidad and Tobago. It ought never to have happened like this. You should have had this facility, let's say, at least 4 or 5 years ago. You could have. But you had to wait. You had to wait. And I get the impression, ladies and gentlemen, that if the government had 3 more terms, that government, it would have remained the same. Because, you know, what are the things we completed? It's not just this. We completed the Brian Lara Stadium. It was left there unattended for 5 years, and once again, they teeth out everything that wasn't nailed down. It was when a new government, this government came into office, we decided whatever happened with the contract before, there was a stadium to be completed for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And even in this time of great hardship and shortage of resources, we completed the Brian Lara Stadium, and today it is one of the finest stadiums, not just in the country, but in the Caribbean. And their wickedness didn't end there, you know. The night when we were going to open that stadium, you know what they did? We had a match organized to open it. They organized protests in the road and blocked traffic. Some people took 4 hours to get to the venue because they deliberately wanted the opening ceremony to be a failure. But it didn't only go well. We made a profit because we sold tickets to the opening, and we got more money than it cost for the opening. I think they made almost $2 million in profit in that event. But citizens were kept in the traffic whole night trying to get there because a handful of political people stood in the highway and ensured that they created mayhem in the traffic. And you know what the issue with it now? The Brian Lara Stadium? They have a big problem with it now. Only last Wednesday they went to Parliament, representing the public interest, demanding to know if the stadium has ICC approval for test cricket. As if by not having that, it is not a stadium and it cannot be used for cricket at the highest level. Knowing full well that the procedure for having a venue certified for cricket is an ongoing procedure which sometimes takes a bit of time, but eventually you will get accreditation because the stadium has all that it takes to be accredited. And you simply have to ask yourself, when are we going to put down the politics and take up love, genuine love, for the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago? This facility and its companion facility that we'll complete in the coming months is fashioned after a facility that exists in Barbados. For those of you who've been to Barbados and have had the pleasure on a Thursday night or a Friday night or a Saturday night to go out to Oistins, in fact, if you are a guest of most Bajan people, they will drag you out on a Thursday night or a Friday night and Saturday night. Whether you want to go or not, you have to go to Oistins. And dinner at Oistins is a fish dinner of some kind. And the people who supply that dinner, they make sure that they are in touch with the fishermen. The fishermen go out and they catch the fish, and the first call on the fish in Barbados is for Oistins. And you get the best fish and the best fresh fish and the best food sitting there with a beer or whatever you drink, with music, and there's an opportunity for cultural things, whether it's dancing or whatever, but it's a huge tourist attraction in Oistins. Simply people doing what people do best, which is come together around some food, and of course in good weather, and you can't ask for anything better. And sometimes you go there, you can't get a seat because foreign tourists take up all the seats, all the tables. You eat, you get up, you mix and mingle, and Oistins is now on the map in Barbados as a serious economic entity. I want that for the people of Carenage. I want that for the people of Carenage. And that is why this facility has been built, designed and built on such an elaborate scale. It's not just for the people of Carenage, it's for the people who will use it. People from elsewhere in the country, and guess who will come here? And you know, we are people. We only appreciate something when some foreigner says it's good, you know. You're a Calypsonian, you're catching your nene here. But somebody in the New York Post say you're good, you make it. You're an artist, you're painting, nobody wants to take you on. But if a foreigner puts you in a magazine, you make it. If somebody comes here and eats some fish and bake or whatever it is, and they go on, well, they can't go on boarding program because he's gone, but they go on a program and they say how wonderful this experience is in Carnage, and Carnage has this, well, of course, we made it. So I'm waiting for those who will come and will speak well of us and will write of us, so that this facility, which is not cheap, but it is built to last. But it will only last if you, the people for whom it was built, use it for the purpose for which it was built. I want to tell you, I've had many sad moments about this property. I now am elated that it's ready. And if I have anything to do with it, none of you would be allowed to make it into a property that is used for purposes for which it is not designed. You will have to use this property in a way to ensure that the rest of the national community, especially in this time of difficulty, who found the money to finish it, money that could have been used elsewhere on other things for other people, but you got it done here, and you would be required to respect it and to treat it as a gift from all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The facility that was broken down here before we built this was a facility that had provision for engine storage. I could tell you, when I do my MP visit, I come to visit here, people living in the place, you know. Place built to store engine, man and wife in there, you know. And telling you can't tell them to move. But that could only happen if there is no management and there is no enforcement of the law. On this site where this investment has been made, there will be management and there will be enforcement of the law in and around the compound to preserve the potential of this investment. You mark my word. And if you don't believe me, my next assignment is in Carnage, is the police station 100 yards away. It has a companion building, a police station, and nobody will be allowed to come and live on this site. Misconduct and lawlessness will not be tolerated on this site, and there will be no shacks built on this site. Don't bother to build no shack on this site, and don't bother to come to the MP, because I'm going to tell the police to break it down. What I want to see you do is to treat this as a facility. You keep it maintained properly, you keep it clean, you keep it in such a way that persons would want to come here for entertainment. Entertainment. If that is so, then you will create a business in Carnage. We will make provision for persons to, in an orderly fashion, sell what persons will want when they come to be entertained. But if you use it as a place to kill people, and you only make the news because somebody shoots somebody by the fishing center, or somebody builds a shack and make it look like Shackville, or somebody use it and make it look like the Labas, very soon the monies that you would have invested here would have been wasted. And the same way I fought for 9 years to build this, I will fight to keep it the way it has been presented to you. It is my intention, today in this function, after we finish the formalities, we'll be entertained by my home steel band. Those of you from Carnage would know you half of Invaders is Carnage people. Half of Invaders is Carnage people. And we have Scorpion Steel Band and we have other entertainers. The intention is to provide opportunities, not just to eat fish and fish food and fish dishes, but to also allow cultural performances to take place. Whether it is steel band, whether it is calypso, whether it is whatever, but it must be a mix of our culture and our culinary arts. And if we do that right, in short order, this location in the country will attract people from all over the country. Whether they went to a fete in Chagaramas, whether it is 2 o'clock in the morning, whether it is midnight on the way down, whether you're home and you wake up and you decide to go out and have something to eat and drink and see who you see and see what they're doing, you come down here. But that can only be so if it's a safe place. It must be a safe place, not just for adults, but also for children, for young people. And to do that, we have to enforce the law so that there be safety and security on the compound and not just in the country, but straight across. You must come here and feel safe. So today, I want to congratulate all those who had anything to do with the building and the completion of this facility. From the technical people in the ministries who were involved, and the Ministry of Finance to ensure that the funding flowed to get it completed, to the people at UDCOT, the technical people who did the architectural work and saw that it was done according to proper standards, to the supervisors, to the technicians and the laborers. Because I used to come here on a monthly basis. And I could tell you, whenever I come, I meet people working, because it takes work for this to be done. And now, when you finish work, you can look back with pride and say, I contributed to building that. We need more of that in Trinidad and Tobago. We need more of people working for the money they get in Trinidad and Tobago. And when you produce something, you know you produce something not only for yourself, but for your community and for your nation. So thank you all very much. And today, my final thanks are for those of you who've come out for us to have a very pleasant evening, welcoming into our nation the latest public facility which will contribute to national development. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley. I think he's getting a message there from the Surreal. Yes. Thank you very much. Message well given to Dr. What message well received. Ladies and gentlemen, projects such as this cannot happen without certain players. There are people who take very prominent roles and others who just meld into the background, who do very significant things. And we must acknowledge them and say thank you. And to give something of a vote of thanks, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Fisheries to come forward to bid you a vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Mr. Farouk Hossain.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Senator the Honorable Clarence Rambarat, Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries. Other cabinet members, PS in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, representatives of government ministries and state agencies, representative of the Fisherfolk Association, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all. It is a time to give thanks. We thank Almighty God for all His blessings, including this wonderful day, and for our leaders, and in particular, our Honorable Prime Minister. We thank the Honorable Prime Minister for his vision, for his persistence in championing this project, the Caranage Fishing Center project, and for his insightful message today. Thank you, Prime Minister. We thank Senator the Honorable Clarence Rambarat Minister of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, for ensuring that the vision of the Prime Minister for the completion of this project has been achieved, as well as for the policy direction he has presented in his address. We thank the diligent government officials from the various government ministries, the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Planning and Development, who facilitated the administrative, the monitoring, and the financial aspects of this project to ensure its successful completion. Additionally, we recognize the hard-working officials of the Ministry of National Security and its agencies for providing their services to ensure our safety and security. We thank the Urban Development Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago, UDCOT, for the provision of procurement, project and contract services for this most important project. We express our appreciation to the contractors, consultants, and their employees for their hard work and their contribution to the construction of this facility. We thank the fisher folk and their association, and in particular Mr. Millington, for their advocacy for this facility, and recognize that it would benefit tremendously from the improvement in the relevant infrastructure that it provides. I am advised that unstinting support was provided for the construction of the Carenage Fishing Center by the Diego Martin Regional Corporation and the constituency executive for Diego Martin West. And we thank all those who provided such support. We thank all those who contributed to making this event a success, especially those who actively participated. We recognize and express our appreciation to the invaders for performing the national anthem, Father Gregory Augustine, who offered the opening prayer, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, for her welcome address, the Carenage Boys Government Primary School, and Geron Nurse for the entertainment they provided. We also thank the caterers, who I am advised are from the Carenage area, and we therefore expect food items that are quite flavorful and delicious. We thank the media for their presence and for their reporting on this significant achievement of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And finally, I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attendance at this event and for being such an attentive audience. And now I turn you over to the Master of Ceremonies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hussain. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite the Honorable Prime Minister and his entourage for the unveiling of the plaque. They will make their way over to the main area for the unveiling of the plaque. We ask you to please keep your seats while they take care of that formality. You will be treated to some measure of entertainment. We have I myself may share a few thoughts of entertainment with you, and after that you will be invited to